Hey everybody, it's Rick, and we're going to talk about what I watched the second week of September 2020. So guys, another week has gone by. It's the same day, but you know what I mean. We're going to talk about what I watched from the 8th to the 14th of September. This video, we're going to talk about 5 movies and then something that attempted to be a movie. We'll get into it. I'm actually kind of contemplating doing a standalone review for one of these films because it was so atrocious. Would probably be a non-friendly, family-friendly video, but I don't know if I want to do that. I feel like my channel is always pretty family-friendly. I don't really cuss. I try to keep the content so that anybody can watch or listen. So I'm toying with it. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I'm kind of shying away from it. But read my Letterboxd review on the movie when we talk about it. And I'm pretty much going to tell you guys what's written here. But we'll talk about that in a second. But first, we're going to talk about the first thing I watched, which was sent over from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment to review. And that is Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows on 4K. And I don't know in my last video if I ever gave my letter grade or number grade for Sherlock Holmes. The first one, it was a 3.5. I just wanted to mention that now because I just recorded that video, but this will be a week since you guys watched it. I'm sure if I forgot, you guys will leave a comment and let me know. So, Sherlock Holmes, Game of Shadows. To be honest, I probably need to go back and watch parts of this because I was nodding off multiple times in this film. There's some pretty cool action in the movie. The scene involving ammunition factory that kind of goes out into the forest is a really cool scene and definitely the highlight of the film. But the humor in this movie didn't really hit like it did in the first film. And I just didn't really like this movie compared to the first one. I didn't like the story as much. I give this a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, I just didn't really care for it. I don't know. Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. I give it a 2.5. Like I said, wasn't the biggest fan. Next up, we're going to talk about probably one of the worst films I've ever watched. Yes, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be like, oh yeah, it was bad. This movie was awful. I gave this a 0 out of 5. Since I've started doing Letterboxd, I don't think I've given any movie a 0. I usually give stuff a half star. I will probably just go ahead and award this hot trash of 2020 now. This movie was atrocious. I recommend nobody watch it. I would not support this film. I'm glad that I bought this from my Facebook guy and only paid a couple dollars. I cannot get rid of this movie quick enough. It was just horrible. It felt like the swing of things. This movie felt like it was written by 5 13-year-old boys, because I think it was written by I want to say it was written by 5 or 6 grown men, I would assume. But it felt like it was written by 13-year-old boys. The humor was horrible. It was very childish. There were talking birds that would say body parts, but not the atomically correct names. It would say nicknames for body parts repeatedly, and then it would be subtitled on the screen in case you really wanted to push that joke home. It also featured a dolphin with human-like genitalia that hits the camera. That's some of the high quality humor that is in this film, that's led by Cord Overstreet and Olivia Culpo. I had a lot of people that I read reviews on Letterboxd, and they gave it 2 stars because of Adelaide Kane. Guess what? There's lots of naked women in this movie. That didn't give this movie a half star. I don't care how attractive a female co-lead is in this movie. This was awful. And because of one actress, I wouldn't give it any higher. It also has John Lovitz and Luke Wilson. So if you love them, you'll probably give it a 1. This movie's awful. It is. it was a struggle to get through. The first 20 minutes kind of tell the backstory of the two lead characters. Didn't matter to the rest of the movie. I feel like they did that to get to its 93-minute runtime. Like they didn't want to make it a 70-minute movie. It's basically about a couple who gets married really fast, and then they end up going to an island, but their plane can't land in one island, so it's doing another island. And they book a stay at a swingers resort, which they confuse a swingers resort with a nude colony. Like I said, this movie is horrible. I give it a 0 out of 5. I don't think anybody should watch it. It's garbage. I threw it on the ground. It deserves it. I honestly contemplated ripping the artwork in half and breaking the disc. That is how bad it is. But because I'm a businessman, I'm going to sell it to somebody on eBay if it's even worth anything. If not, maybe I'll pass it on to somebody else. This makes Rub and Tug look like an Oscar-winning film. This was worse than Desperados. This was worse than Like a Boss, The Turning, Gretel and Hansel. Anything you guys think is really awful, you gave it an F on Letterboxd. You gave it a half star. What is it called? The Swing of Things. I was going to say The Shape of Water. Shape of Water is fantastic. The Swing of Things is horrible. Don't watch it. I'm sorry. I cannot warn you guys enough. The movie's crap. I'm not going to do the R-rated review because the movie doesn't deserve more attention. This is my extended review of it. It is dog-ass. Don't watch it. It sucks. It is a shame that something like that got made, but somebody's original film isn't getting made by a studio or by anybody with Oh man, it is awful. Sorry. Reset. Let's talk about something that wasn't awful. And that is, when is this from? 1993's film, directed by Joe Dante. The Shout Select release of Matinee, starring John Goodman. A fun throwback to monster films of the 50s and 60s. This takes place in 62. Basically, surrounded around the Cuban Missile Crisis. A fun movie where John Goodman absolutely shines as one of the leads. He plays director, was it Woolsey or Woodsley? Woolsey. People are getting ready to experience the first 4D movie, basically, called Mant, which is a man-ant. And it combines with like that with, you know, the Cuban Missile Crisis and everybody's paranoia, and combines for a theatrical performance that people will never forget. So Matinee was a fun watch. I enjoyed it. I don't think RJ liked it very much, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Definitely making the shelves. 3.5 out of 5 for me. Matinee. That was a first time watch, and here was another first time watch that we checked out with RJ. Bridget had seen this, but RJ and I hadn't, and that is Mars Attacks. This being from 1996 with a all-star cast. I mean, listed here, Jack Nicholson, Glenn Close, Annette Bening, Pierce Brosnan, Danny DeVito, Martin Short, Sarah Jessica Parker, Lucas Haas, Michael J. Fox, Natalie Portman, Lisa Marie, Jim Brown, Tom Jones. I feel like that's everybody that's listed, but this movie was a lot of fun. I had never seen this film, which is crazy because I was 12 when it came out, so you would think this would kind of be like right up my alley. There's so many stars of the past, present, and future in 1996. And the fun thing about this movie is not knowing who will survive it. Like I said, there's lots of big names in here, and it's about Martians from Mars attacking America and the US and Earth, and we'll see what happens. But it's very campy. The movie offers up lots of laughs, and it was a fun time. I will say the graphics definitely have not aged well almost 25 years later in this film, and distracted me in parts, honestly. Took me out of the movie a bit. And for that, I give it a 3 out of 5. A fun movie. It'll make the shelf. But yeah, don't expect to be wowed by like a CGI masterpiece. Not the case. Next thing we watched was another title from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. This is the Stanley Kubrick war classic, Full Metal Jacket. First time watch for my girlfriend, not for me. I've seen this movie numerous times, love the movie. I am an Act 1 guy. So this movie gets basically divided in two parts to a lot of people. There's Act 1 and Act 2. Act 1 takes place in like boot camp, and then Act 2 takes place in Vietnam. I personally liked Act 1 of the movie. I think it's very intense. It's very well done. Explores, mental illness, in my opinion. The intensity of preparing for war, and all these guys who are, 18-year-olds right out of high school that are getting ready to go to war, and if they're mentally prepared for it, that they take it seriously. So it's almost like two movies in one. I mean, the movie's fantastic, but if you add me, like I said, there's a lot of people who are like, I'm a part 1 or an Act 1 person, I'm an Act 2 or a part 2 person. For me, it's part 1 I enjoy, but the movie as a whole is fantastic. I don't know how much more to say. I will say the 4K, the first part of the movie is very dull. Well, it's not dull. It's very bland. There's lots of stuff in their barracks, lots of stuff in the rain and mud because they're training. And then when they go to Vietnam and there's a war going on, it's much more colorful and the 4K really pops, which I mentioned in my review video. But yeah, this is a fantastic movie. I cannot recommend Full Metal Jacket enough. I give it a 4.5 out of 5. A tremendous war film, just a tremendous movie in general. And last but not least, it's not a physical movie I have, but it is 2009's Mother. Not the Jennifer Lawrence film Mother, but the Bong Joon-ho film Mother from 2009. The 5th Bong Joon-ho movie I've seen. Obviously Parasite, Snowpiercer, Okja. I really enjoyed. The Host did not enjoy as much, and this is my least favorite of the 5 films I watched. Basically, it is about a kid who is accused of committing an awful crime, and he's a little bit off, and his mother basically tries to find out who committed the crime, what happened. And I will say that once again, I feel like I say this every time I talk about a Bong Joon-ho movie. He does a fantastic job of blending genres: comedy, suspense, action, horror. He does it all so well. There's twists and turns and false endings, but at over 2 hours, this movie doesn't need to be that long. It kind of becomes a little full of itself, I would say, to an extent. And as one of Bong Joon-ho's first films, he did a few more movies prior. Probably won't watch those. They're not really on my radar. So now I just have to hope for him to do something in the next couple of years, and I'm excited to check it out because as he's progressed as a filmmaker, I've enjoyed his films more and more. Parasite was definitely my favorite, probably followed by Okja and then Snowpiercer. So it's almost like as he's made films, I've enjoyed them more, even though I watched them in reverse order. Does that make sense? But I give it a 2.5 out of 5. Check it out, but it's not going to be for everyone. It is in Korean, so there are subtitles. But that is it, guys. So thank you for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you don't do so already. Hit the bell notification so you guys know when new videos are coming to the channel. And also leave comments down below. What have you guys been watching? Let me know. Have you seen any of these movies? Did you subject yourself to watching The Swing of Things? Let me know if you think it is as atrocious as I do. And be sure to check out the description box down below where you can find links to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd where I rate and review all the movies I watch, my eBay page, Amazon wishlist, Blu-ray.com profile, email address, P.O. box can all be found down below. That is it, guys. So as always, I'm getting hungry. I think I'm going to record 2 more videos and then eat. Until next time, who's down to movie?